Welcome to the Friends of Israel's Jew and Gentile podcast. I am your host, Chris Katolka, and with me is none other than the Jewish sage himself, the one, the only, Mr. Steve Herzig. How are you, sir?
I'm conflicted again.
Why?
It's not Purim yet. It's not even Purim, and I got Passover on my mind.
A Passover, always.
My wife just bought 60 of these things.
What are the things for our listeners? What are the things?
This is Finding Messiah in Passover. Our team here in North American Ministry built this little devotional. You were key because we had a lot of interns involved in writing. You wrote, I wrote, lots of people wrote, and we put together a 32-day devotional starting for this year. It would be February 28th to Passover by taking the person through the Haggadah. And so my wife saw this, and she just said, we're giving them to friends. We're giving them to church people. I said, we're giving them? She said, I'm buying them.
Did you get a discount?
I did get a discount. Well, I didn't get a discount. Alice got the discount.
Because she's
For
in the
me,
public.
Bupkis.
Well, you're not.
I'm not even with Friends of Israel.
You're with Friends of Israel, but you have your wife is actually an official employee of the Friends of Israel.
Official employee
in the publications
and
department.
In fact, she edited this.
That's
thing.
exactly right. Finding Messiah in Christmas is a 32-day devotional for Passover that you can do. Passover here at the Friends of Israel is like the Super Bowl. I mean, everything builds up to the Passover season.
It's not even Purim. We got to do Purim first. But no, I got Passover on my mind.
That's right. And you should, because you know what? I know a lot of people, Steve, this is a great little connection. A lot of people are getting prepped for Lent, or they're doing their Lent.
They are. On the radio, there are DJs talking about, what should I give up? I was listening to one guy yesterday, and he said, I think I'll give up my producer. He said, I don't need him for 40 days. Somebody said, well, you really should give up something you'll miss. How about you'd like to have a shot every now and then, whiskey? He said, no, I don't want to do that. I love this. It's a sacrifice, but it's what you want to.
It's your personal sacrifice.
His producer.
That's right.
Chris, are you giving up your producer?
No, I'm not. I need you big time, or else it'd be a very boring show. And I'll also say this: so maybe you don't do Lent. That's fine. You know what? You could do Finding.
I don't do Lent.
I know, and I don't either. But I'm saying you could do Finding Messiah in Passover.
That's right.
A 32-day devotional that will lead you not only to the Passover season, but also the Resurrection Sunday, the death, burial, and resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's a great devotional that's been done by Friends of Israel staff, North American ministry staff, interns, each just very easy one-day devotionals. In fact, we took, it's not rocket science. We took the Haggadah. We just took the Haggadah. If you don't know what a Haggadah is, it's the tool that Jewish people use to walk through the Passover
Seder. Story. Haggadah is story. It tells the story of the Passover.
That's right. And it just gets you from point A to point B to tell you about the redemption story of the Jewish people. Well, we always do Christ in the Passover. So this is just the Haggadah in a devotional form. And I think it will encourage you as you think about the upcoming Easter season, the resurrection season. So again, now Steve got a little bit of a deal. You can buy the physical copy of it by going.
Well, look, if somebody wants to buy 60 of them, call Chris. Text him at 424-444-1948, and we can. If you want to buy lots of them, we can talk to you. But if you're buying one or two of them, it's full price.
I'll let you manage that process, okay?
You can send them to me.
I'll send them right to you.
And I'll get them a deal.
Giddy up. But on the other end of things, so let's say you want to see it, but you don't want to buy it. I understand. Well, you know, if you've been listening to the Jew and Gentile podcast, we like to give things away for free. Okay?
Exactly.
And so
let's not tell publication.
It want nothing to do with this. That's why if you go to messiahinpassover.org, you'll actually get a free digital download of Finding Messiah in Passover. And it's really simple. You just give us your first name, your email address, right there. It goes right into your email, and you can read and follow through with the devotional. So I hope that you do that. Steve, we've found out some interesting information recently about the way that the Arab world feels.
Before we do that, Chris.
Oh, okay.
The
producer stepping in.
Before we do it, we've got to front load free stickers. Yes, they could get free Finding Messiah in Passover, but Stickers is the name of the game. It really is. We believe that our stickers, which are supporting Israel, I love Israel, praying for the peace of Jerusalem, Israel forever, we believe these stickers can be used of the Lord to create conversations. And so we have been giving people an opportunity to receive these stickers by simply texting us at 424-444-1948. And Chris, I'd like to hear some stories. I haven't heard any stories that I know they text you. Do we have any stories of people using stickers?
I mean, all I know is that people are sticking these stickers on their water bottles, their hard hats, the back of their cars. I get pictures of them on their Bible.
Oh, you got pictures?
Yeah, I get pictures occasionally. So if you have pictures of your...
We need some stories.
That's right.
Has anybody used the stickers that you know that they've been used of the Lord in a really great way to converse about Israel and the Jewish people?
We've got, one of our representatives did a tour over to Italy with a Jewish group that invited her over.
And we interviewed her.
And we interviewed her, and you know what she did? She slapped stickers over top a lot of the anti-Israel and anti-Semitic statements that are like plastered on these
it's
walls in Rome.
heartwarming to know how our stickers are being used.
They're global. Our stickers are global. So if you would like some free stickers, 50 free stickers that support Israel and the Jewish people, be sure to visit us or text us at 424-444-1948.
All right, now we could go to this red, blue, and white.
That's
but
right.
We're not talking about America here.
Nope.
Red, blue, and white. Tell us a little bit about this, Chris.
Well, if you're watching on YouTube, I put the comparison chart up here, and I found this very interesting. I saw this on X the other day, and I sent it over to Steve because, we're hearing so much from the Trump administration about this peace that is spreading all throughout the Middle East, and it's fantastic. And I like his optimism. I'm an optimistic kind of guy, but I'm also a realist because I've been living in the realm of how Israel fits in, surrounded by neighbors that don't necessarily like them. And so, yes, the Abraham Accords are amazing diplomatic relationships that Israel has with strategic partners like UAE, Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco, these countries that are looking to expand even to Saudi Arabia. This is huge. These are diplomatic, high-level, ambassador-level, security-level relationships that Israel has with these countries that once didn't even recognize Israel at all. But there's a big difference between the governing bodies of these countries, these individuals that run the countries, these Arab Muslim countries, and the actual main street, the way people think on the ground level of these countries. And that's what this country comparison, this is a country comparison of Arab opinions on their country's recognition of Israel. And when I saw this, I know it might surprise some of you, but it didn't surprise me because this is still just going to show that despite the fact, as much as we talk about peace in the Middle East, you really can't have peace in the Middle East until everybody can agree that there should be a recognition of a Jewish state. And I'm going to tell you something, this chart does not show that...
Chris, I even have to laugh. Libya, 1.
Yes. That's right.
1%. 1% of the country would say, I recognize Israel as a state. It might be a Jewish person.
That's right.
Who hasn't told anybody they're
He's
Jewish.
hiding underground.
But 96% say, you know what? Don't do it. I don't.
And this is so fascinating because the options are this. You either support the recognition of a Jewish state.
That's blue.
That's blue. You oppose the recognition of a Jewish state.
That's red.
And the whole page is red. Or you don't have an answer. You decline to answer or you don't know.
And that's white.
Now, normally, I think in like American, if you look at America, like any type of democracy, what you would see is maybe some blue, maybe some red, but a large gray area. That area of like, I don't really know, I don't have an opinion or whatever. That doesn't matter at all in this chart. The I don't know, what's amazing to me is the I don't know and I don't have an answer barely has a sliver, just like supporting
Except for
Israel.
one country. One country reads, okay, it's still bad, but the country is a country legally. It should be, you don't have to like it. This isn't on, I like Israel. This is, Israel recognizes all these countries, by the way. I bet you it'd be 95% of Israelis would say, I recognize Libya as a country. I recognize Jordan as a country. Ask them another question. do you like them? No,
Yeah.
because they hate us. But this is
We don't even think they should exist.
they don't exist in their eyes.
I want to read some of these so that you guys, so our listeners can get a grip on the reality of what Israel is dealing with. In Libya, as Steve said, only out of 100%, 1% believe that Libya should recognize Israel. 96% say no, and 3% say I don't know, or they don't have an opinion. Jordan, which is, remember, Israel's neighbor, only 4% say yes to recognition of Israel. 95% say no, and only 1% don't have an opinion or decline to answer. I don't even know what the next state is. Mauritania. Okay, Mauritania, 4% yes, 95% no, 1% decline to answer or don't know. Kuwait, 4% yes, 94% no, 2%.
Look at Palestine.
Yeah, Palestine actually has...
The Palestinians.
That's right. 5% say yes, 91% say no.
And they're supposed to be negotiating with them to have a two-state solution.
That's right, exactly. When 91% of the average common Palestinian says, I don't even think they should exist, 4% say, I don't know. Lebanon, this is amazing to me, 9% say yes.
They all live in South Lebanon.
That's right.
You know why? South Lebanon, Israel's helped them.
Yeah, the Christian community, especially.
That's right.
9% yes, 89% no, and 2% say I don't know or didn't answer. The one, again, even Egypt. Think about, these are countries, Jordan and Egypt have relationships, strategic partnerships since the 1970s and 80s and 90s. And here's Egypt saying 12% say yes, recognize Israel, 87% say no, 1% say decline to answer or I don't know. The big one, though, Steve, that I think is interesting that you brought up is Saudi Arabia says 4% say that there should be recognition, 61% say no recognition, and 35% say I don't know or decline to answer.
Israel has been, they talk to each other. They have semi-relations with them. Israel has helped Saudi Arabia in a number of ways, and I think they were key in moving forth the Abrahamic Accords.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's just very interesting. Too much red there, though.
To end it all, just so that you know, an average of the entire Middle East here, and we're also talking about Northern Africa, and we're also talking about Gulf states as well. In total, the average is this, of all these countries combined. 6% say recognition of Israel. 87% say no recognition, and 7% say decline to answer or don't know or don't have an opinion.
Crazy.
That's a lot.
It's a tough job. I was listening to President Trump on the way driving in here to do the podcast, and he's something else. When he talks in such a way, giving himself all this credit, saying things are great in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's right.
But President Trump can't change the minds of these red. But it's very interesting to see as he's putting together his peace group, Chris, the countries that are buying in read Ezekiel 38 and 39.
Yep.
It's so interesting.
100, and we have this thing called a peace board. It's something that you and I should develop further. But it's just important for our listeners to see. Do not be deceived. It's deception to just look at a country and say, oh, this leader is the one who is going to determine the mindset of his people and how they relate with Israel. When the vast majority of each one of those countries oppose, not even like, it doesn't have to be, do you like Israel? Forget about that. It's that they don't believe that Israel as a Jewish state should even be recognized as a country. We're still dealing with the conversations on a Main Street level that will go back to after the 6 Day War at the Khartoum agreement, where they came up with the three no's. That all the Arab countries got together and said, what do we do about Israel? Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do. 3 no's. No recognition. No, what was the other R's? No recognition. No
negotiations.
That's right.
I forgot the third no. I know there's 3 no's.
Yeah, we'll find a
We
third
don't
one out.
recognize Israel. We won't negotiate with Israel, and we won't do something else.
No peace. No peace. No
That's
peace
right.
with Israel.
The most important.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't know. We don't know.
All right, Steve. So that was that's just an interesting
That's a
thing.
very important thing. And by the way, we just finished an Equip course. Actually, we finished tonight. Oh, no, it's over. It's done, right?
Tonight's the last night.
Tonight's the last night. And perfect timing. For those of you who haven't watched, all you have to do is go to foiequip.org. You could register for the course, but you could also see last week's course, and it's How to Bless Israel.
That's right. And you see the comments that come in on when we post it on YouTube, so that people can watch it whenever they want. And the comments on it have been fantastic. People are saying, this is what I've been waiting for. This is really great information for the church. Just people really seem to gravitate to this. Should we still bless Israel today? By looking at a lot of the voices, especially on the right side of the spectrum, not the left or progressive, but on the right side of the spectrum, that would consider themselves even Christians, who are saying Israel is is a dumpster fire. We shouldn't support them. God is done with them. It's time to move on. Is this where we want to be right now as a church? Well, this is why Bruce Scott, Ty Perry, and Cameron Joyner are all working together to answer some of these questions and give some confidence for you as maybe you have family members right now. Because, Steve, that's what I dealt with. This is what kind of created this class. Was I did one of our prophecy conferences last fall, and I was amazed that, normally when we get done, people want to ask questions about biblical prophecy. I feel like I spent more time counseling parents because the parents were saying, we raised our kids to love Israel and the Jewish people biblically, and now all of a sudden, all I do is get text messages about how horrible Israel is, how it's unbiblical. They're the synagogue of Satan. The Jewish people are this. Chris, what do I say? And, the problem is that they are caught up in a world of deception. They're caught up in a world of social media, and they don't have a proper history. And it's hard you can't just undo it with one message. I mean, these people are bought in on this anti-Israel, anti-Semitic mentality.
Maybe they could do it with 2. Well, 2 courses, Chris.
That's right.
If they go to foiequip.org, they can sign up, and the second course is actually tonight as we record, but they're there. All the courses we have are going to be there for people to see whenever they want to see it.
That's right. So you can go to foiequip.org. There you can also sign up for Can You Trust the New Testament with a specialist, the very well-known, world-renowned Greek scholar, Dr. Dan Wallace. And you can register for that as well for next month, March 12th, by going to foiequip.org.
Chris, we have to talk about Shalom, Mexico. Yep. I left last year in May as the vice president of North American Ministries and turned it over to you by God's grace. And we have Canada and the United States, and that was the ministry. But because of new staff coming and the gifts that God has given to them, including the talent of being bilingual. Chris, when I go to Israel, people think I know all the Hebrew and all that, and I say, look, if you speak 3 languages, you're trilingual. If you speak 2, you're bilingual. If you speak 1, you're American. I'm an American.
You could just say the word, I got bupkis. You know that one.
I do know that. That's true. But we have some staff now who have become burdened for Spanish-speaking people, trying to teach Spanish-speaking church people the importance of Israel, and certainly to share the good news with Spanish-speaking Jewish people. And so tell us, we now have an opportunity to go to Mexico as a ministry under the banner of North American Ministry.
That's right. God's just opened the door with Shalom Mexico. We have a vision. We want to see maybe even a Tikva volunteer planted in Mexico City this year. But we have a group of amazing Spanish-speaking believers who have a heart for Israel and the Jewish people who want to see this happen. And that God has formed this team that we're trying to formulate. So we really believe God's going to do something amazing in Mexico and to plant Friends of Israel there and the mission there. So, if we, number one of the things that we need to do is begin to translate our materials. Steve, something that's really important to talk about is Friends of Israel is really good in the English language, or in English. We've got
Some of us.
well, we got English down, and all our publications are in English. IMG is in English. Our Passover material is in English. All of these things are in English. But the reality is this: not that we should stop printing in English, but the church is on the decline in the English-speaking languages, and it's on the incline in languages like Spanish and in Chinese. So we actually recently translated 10 Reasons Why Christians Should Support Israel in Mandarin, in Chinese, so that
I think that is so amazing. One person who you have dealt with took a number of those brochures or booklets to China.
to China, that's right, and Taiwan.
Friends of Israel in Taiwan.
We're in Taiwan. And so, so we want to be able to provide these materials because as these churches are growing, evangelical churches are growing in South America and in Mexico and in Asian countries as well. They're also right here in the United States. And so we can begin to influence the local churches with the materials that we have to teach biblical truth about Israel and the Jewish people.
So we got to print some Spanish I Love Israel stickers.
100%. That's what Shalom Mexico is all about. So if you actually go to foiequip.org, you'll see a donate button. Make a donation because we'd like to make sure that we're able to print and share our materials with our Spanish-speaking friends who are excited about
very exciting ministry,
Mexico.
Chris.
That's right. All right, Steve, we are moving into minutia of Genesis.
That's
and
right.
I'm going to tell you something. I know that you call it minutia. Minutia to me just seems like the things that are minute. They're like you skip.
Who talks about in depth about the things we've discussed?
I know
here?
they just start
The genealogy and the girls. What I'm trying to remember. Last week we did the the wives, the multiple wives.
Yep.
You don't hear a lot of messages about the multiple wives in Genesis,
Nope,
do you?
you don't talk
so
about.
What do you call that? Minutia.
That's right. I just feel like we're tackling it. Minutia just seems like a little pebble that you step over.
They do. They read. Oh yeah, they had multiple wives. But let's go talk about their faith.
I know, but it feels like those are big, bolder things. We call them minutia, but I feel like it's like
Maybe I should
huge.
retitle it.
No,
What do you
I
want
like
to call it?
I like it. I'm just saying these feel like big, especially because we're about to do one called Holy Chutzpah.
Holy Chutzpah. This, Chris, I love when I get an opportunity to speak from Genesis 18 because Jewish people have had the stigma attached to us that we're all great negotiators. Chris, I hate negotiating. I hate it. I'm the son of a negotiator. My parent, both of they negotiate in front of me all the time. I hate it.
With each other, they would negotiate?
With everything. So here's the price. And then my mother would say, that's the price. What do I pay? Everything. But Jewish people have had that stigma attached to them. And so it's not all Jewish people, by the way. I'm one of them who doesn't like to do that.
And you also have a great little line about how Jewish people, people often say, Jewish people are frugal or whatever. But then you also say, hey, I'm waiting in line with all you coupon Gentiles all the time.
100%. In a church, I'll say, okay, I do love coupons. There's no negotiating there. They're telling you, if you cut this thing out, you'll get 20 cents off. Oh, I sit at a table. I actually had a party during July 4th. We had a huge church group. This is probably 30 years ago. And the hostess had a whole bunch of coupons, and they could care less about them. I said, well, look at what are you saving these for? Oh, I figured somebody might want them. I do. So I started cutting them out. Oh, look, 25 cents off of toilet paper. Boom, I got that. Well, people were laughing at me. There were about 75 people there. By the end of the evening, Chris, there are about 30 people cutting out coupons. Oh, anybody want this? 25 cents off. Anyway.
I like that, though.
We digress.
Yes, that's right.
We're in chapter 18, Chris, and this is deep, but at the same time, it's funny. God says, look at the sin that is going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. There's going to have to be judgment. And Abraham approaches God, Chris, that alone approaches God, and he says, well, wait a minute. What if there's 50 righteous? God, what if there's 50 righteous? Where's it? It starts... the men, why don't you read, starting in verse 16? I think it's important to get the text before they get me.
That's right. So that they can compare.
There's no comparison.
Verse 16 of chapter 18 in Genesis. When the men got up to leave, they looked toward Sodom, and Abraham walked along with them to see them on their way. These are the three men,
right,
the Lord, who actually would tell Abraham and Sarah.
Well, we believe he's one of them. Yeah.
That's right. That Abraham and Sarah would have a son in their old age. So they're leaving now. And then the Lord said, shall I hide from Abram what I'm about to do? And Abram said, Abram will surely become great and become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations on earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him, so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord will bring about for Abraham what he has promised him. And then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know. Keep going?
Keep going.
All right.
Okay, so what do we have right now? Right now, God is saying, oh, these people, they're horrible. The sin is so horrible.
I feel like we're back at Noah again.
Yep. And so now, in light of that, Abraham doesn't disagree with that at all. What happens?
It says, then the men turned away and went toward Sodom, but Abram remained standing before the Lord.
He stood before the Lord. This is where chutzpah comes. Abraham is standing before the Lord. Go ahead.
Then Abram approached him and said, will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. Far be it from you. Will not the judge of all the earth do right?
What?
I know, that's a slap in the face.
This is chutzpah.
That's right.
But he knows who God is, and he dares, if you will, to ask him.
That's right.
I think that's pretty cool.
I think it's amazing. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
The Lord said, if I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake.
Now here's where it gets funny,
That's
Chris.
right. This is the negotiating.
He started with a big number because he knew Sodom was in bad shape. Well, maybe if there's 50. Okay. Now... Well, what happens
That's
next,
right.
Chris?
Then Abram spoke up again. Now that I've been bold as to speak to the Lord, though I am nothing but dust and ashes. What if the number of the righteous is less than 50? Is 5 less than 50? Will you destroy the whole city for a lack of 5 people?
What's God say?
If I find 45 there, he said, I will not destroy it. And once again, he spoke to him. Well, what about 40?
I'm on a run.
He said, for the sake of 40, will I not do it? And then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak. What if only 30 can be found there? And he answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Abram said, now that I have been so bold, chutzpah, as to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 can be found there? He said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. Then he said, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10?
One more time.
That's right. What if only 10 can be found there? He answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left, and Abraham returned home.
Now, I'm making fun of this, Chris. It is funny. It is negotiation here. But there's a lot going on. And camping here, I think, is pretty important.
Well, this is, to me, this is like watching a poker game, because God's got the cards. And there's Abraham. Like, you can see Abraham looking at God's face, and God's got a poker face. Like, go ahead, 50, no problem, 40. Like, he just is. He knows the answer. You know what I mean? He knows he's got his flush here, and but he's letting Abraham go through the. It's almost like what is that? The stages of grief or whatever. It's like he's in denial right now. You know, that kind of thing.
But it's interesting to me because, first of all, it's sad. There's less than 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it is. There is less than 10. And it's interesting that God would spare them if there were 10. He got them down. If you if you look at the negotiation here, he got him from 50 to 10. He also said, you know, I don't want. I humbly ask. I love the way I'm humbly asking. Please don't be angry at me, but I want to ask this. I think it's all right, but there's less than 10. But the fact is, Chris, there's no law system yet. We haven't hit Exodus, and yet we see a priest. We saw a priest in Melchizedek. We talked about Melchizedek, who was a priest of the Lord. Abraham's not designated as a priest. But what he's doing here is priestly.
Yeah, he's acting as an intercessor between the people of Sodom and God.
He's pleading to save the city. And God is willing because he doesn't want the righteous to perish with the wicked. Unfortunately, there's only a few who could be considered righteous. And even the ones on their way out, one failed on the way out. The wife of Lot failed. So, you know, we think about today's culture, and evangelicals are on the cutting edge of being critical of the culture. We stand with what the Scripture teaches. But, Chris, in comparison to, and we've been called, America's been called Sodom and Gomorrah, and I understand all that, but we could find more than 10 righteous in the United States. Things are bad. But in Sodom and Gomorrah, they were beyond hope.
Yeah.
Beyond hope. And that's the only way was for the few who were righteous, Lot and his family, to escape.
That's right. And it's always amazing to me that God plays the role. Because the chutzpah of Abraham shows up a couple places. Even back in Genesis chapter 15, when, you know, God says, I'm your reward and your great shield. And then Abraham basically goes, oh, really? Well, then where's my son? You're killing me here, you know? But I always appreciate Abraham because I think in the way that we pray, Steve, oftentimes we only think about praying in one way, which is this very reverent type of prayer. And if you look at the way Abraham talks with God, it is, it is very honest and very open. Between Abraham and God. And God never punishes or critiques or provides a consequence for Abraham's communication with him. It's always accepted and I think appreciated by God that he's being honest with the Creator. And so anyway, I like hearing that because I think it fits well with the way that Abraham and God had a relationship where they walked together through this promise that he was making with them.
I think the key word you're using here, again, and sometimes it's hard for us who talk about relationship to be able to kind of work through what does that mean today. And I think even before the law, certainly way before Christ, relationship doesn't have to be defined. We have relationships with our family, our wives, our kids, our grandkids, siblings, and that relationship in communication varies. It could be yelling, like when I introduced my wife to my family when she never met them before. We were just talking, but she thought we were yelling. There's a dynamic in a relationship. And Abraham demonstrates that he had a relationship. And we can have that same, we do, those of us who've trusted Christ. But I think we see from the platforms of churches, formal prayer. We respect men who are preaching. We go to our Sunday school classes and they open up in prayer and we think, well, this is the way it has to be. When in reality, that's not the way it has to be. We ought to be real with God and expect that God will be real with us. Wasn't he real with Abraham?
100%. He was real. You know, Steve, last night I led our home group and we're going through 1 Peter. And of course, my section is how wives should treat husbands, especially unbelieving husbands, and how husbands should treat wives, especially unbelieving wives. And I was doing a little research before we got started. And actually, Peter uses Sarah from Genesis chapter 18. And he says, you know, wives, submit to your own husbands so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over without words by the behavior of their wives, when they see the purity and the reverence of your lives. And it goes on. And then it goes down and says, for this is the way the holy women of the past in the Old Testament who put their hope in God used to adorn themselves. They submitted themselves to their own husbands. This is my favorite, Steve, because this to me, like, well, the moment I read this and then I saw the passage connected to it, it's like out of a Jewish comedy, okay? And I'm not trying to make it light, but it's very interesting. For this is the way that holy women of the past who put their hope in God used to adorn themselves. They submitted themselves to their own husbands, like Sarah, who obeyed Abraham and called him her Lord. Now, in your mind, you have this image of Sarah, fetching Abraham some figs and says, yes, Lord, I'll get you some figs. That's the picture you have. But then you go back to the only time in the Bible where Abraham or Sarah called Abraham Lord. And it comes from Genesis 18, when those three men, the Lord, comes to tell Abraham, by this time next year, you're going to have a son. And so it says this in verse 9, the men are asking Abraham, where's your wife Sarah? And they asked him, there in the tent, he said. Then one of them said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son.
And everybody laughs.
Well, here's the thing. Listen to this. Now, Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent, which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah were already very old, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself, and as she thought, after I am worn out and my Lord, Abraham, is old, now I will have this pleasure. This is, I don't know about you.
I've had bupkis for all these years.
That's right. And that's when she calls Abraham Lord. But it's not like Abraham is asking her to serve him. It's that she's saying, you mean now you want my husband and me to have this promised child in this very old age? But I still think this is a part of the chutzpah. Not only did Abraham have chutzpah, Sarah has chutzpah.
It's in the DNA.
To say, are you joking with me? This is it. But I love that Peter uses it because it almost sounds like submit to your husbands. Even Sarah called Abraham Lord. But then you read the passage and she's like, oh, really? Now I'm going to have a kid at 90 with my Lord who's almost 100? This is what you're going to do? That cracked me up.
Puts things in perspective.
That's right. Exactly.
I was raised in a Jewish home. And traditional American home, Jewish and American. And I got to tell you, my father was the one who was in charge of the family, except that 90% of the time, he deeded responsibility to my mother. And by that, I mean, what did your mother say? That's what I think at least my generation's parents, the mother would let the father think that he's running the show when really she's running the show.
Right. Well, I love that Sarah is at the edge of the tent, and it says that she was thinking. It wasn't even that she said it out loud. She
was laughing her head off.
And in her head, she's got, it's the same. I just think it's funny. It doesn't show this like men forcing their wives to do something. It's like she's just going, oh, now you're going to have us have kids? Give me, this is hilarious.
And by the way, they agreed to name the son Isaac.
Yes, laughter.
Isaac, which means every time she called him, she would be reminded of that moment.
That's
I just
exactly
think that's
right.
all right. Well, yes, that's the minutia of Genesis, Chris.
I love the
we
minutia
got to
of
find
Genesis.
another one. Each week I have to find one.
You're doing good so
far. But I love holy chutzpah because negotiating is an art form. And some Gentiles like to do it.
That's right. Yes.
Well, when we take people to Israel, we got people who are, Chris, I want to tell you, I've seen some funny ones in my day. Probably the most funny is when I had a guy come to Israel. His father was a pastor, been in the ministry, loved the Jewish people, was involved with Friends of Israel as a board member. And so now his son is coming. And so he comes up to me. We're at a place where you can buy all kinds of Jewish stuff. And he comes up to me and said, Steve, I have this menorah here. But, I'm always worried about, is this the right price? And so I looked at it. I said, it's $1. I said, you're buying your dad a souvenir for $1 and you're not sure even if that's I said, you can buy 30 of these things. What are you buying them a thing for $1 for? And you're worried you're paying too much? This is nonsense.
Yeah, he's going up. He goes, now, how about 90? All right, good sir. How about 80? How about, he's taking a tip from Abraham.
Every time I see him since that time, I make fun of him. His father's with the Lord now, but I said, this is your father, and you're worried about $1. Ay, ay, ay.
Well, Steve, I think we're going to move on to the news. But before we do that, the other day I was scrolling through our amazing marketing team here at the Friends of Israel posts our videos on the Friends of Israel.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, on our Facebook page for Friends of Israel, which we're very honored about.
Does anybody watch other than our 7?
I don't know. If you watch because of what you see on the Facebook page of Friends of Israel, text us at 424-1948 and let us know. But one particular person was watching, Steve, and what he wrote was very interesting to me and made me chuckle. I shouldn't laugh.
You actually sent it to me.
I sent it to you so that you knew about it, so I could keep you in the loop.
I could not believe it.
Well, this guy named George, and George, if you're listening, thank you so much for your kind words.
Thank you. This was great.
I know. So, but it made me laugh because it really hit me hard. He said, if you want to hear truth about Israel, you should listen to the Jew and Gentile podcast. The news broadcasts don't tell you what's really happening. So we just got compared to news broadcasts, and George goes,
"Is that a good thing?"
He's saying, listen to the Jew and Gentile podcast. So I don't know what, George, that's one of those quotes that I feel like we should plaster somewhere or put on our website or something. Thank you so much for your confidence in Steve and myself. We humbly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Speaking of news. Just as amazing, Chris. I did not know this. There's an NBA player who's an Israeli, and he's 6 feet 8 inches tall, and he's been in the NBA for a long time. I did not know that. He actually made the All-Star game. Not just made it, he was a starter in the NBA All-Star game. His name is Denji Avdija, Avdga. He plays for the Portland Trailblazers. He scored 5 points, Chris. And it's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So they asked LeBron James about him.
Yes.
And he gave comment about him, that he's good and all that. And then they asked him about Israel. And here's what he said.
Wow.
They asked him,
how did it even get to it?
First, they talked about the NBA player, the Israeli guy, Denji Avdija, which we'll talk about. But then they asked him also about Israel in general. And they asked him about whether he had a message for fans back in Israel. LeBron, do you have a message? Well, if I have fans over there, he said, then I hope you've been following my career. I hope I inspire people over there to not only want to be great at sports, but be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I could make it over there. Like I said, I've never been there, but I heard great things. I appreciate the question. Nice answer, right?
Great.
What? That's a terrific answer. But there's a guy from MS Now, which used to be MSN. What did they say? MSNBC.
That's right.
What did he call LeBron, Chris?
I just see that he rips him. Mehdi Hassan rips LeBron James over Israel comments at NBA All-Star game. What did he call him?
A disgrace.
Oh, a disgrace. Yeah. What a disgrace
said
LeBron is.
Was a disgrace. What was wrong with that? He's never been to Israel. He said, I've never been to Israel. But, hey, I hope the people there follow my career.
Yeah.
Great. And I hope I'm inspiring them to do great things wherever they are. Well, great. I just think no matter if you
doesn't matter what you do.
If you say Israel, you're in trouble.
100, and that's why Hassan Garnish actually got backlash in the past for headlines against Israel after Hamas terrorists launched an attack on October 7th. Excuse me, and took hundreds of hostages. The terror attack sparked a massive response from Israel, and it says that Avdija was an all-star for the first time in his career and the only active NBA player from Israel. He's one of 4 who have played in the NBA from the nation, along with Omri Caspi, who's been in the NBA, TJ Leaf and Gal Mikel. And so, this is kind of where it ends, but it's just, you're right. Anytime you post anything about Israel.
Even LeBron is called names because He just said, hey, I've never been there, but if I've inspired a few people, that's great. Do your best. Sei gesund.
I genuinely believe that there are, in the realm of the celebrity, a lot of people don't go to Israel. Like Israelis go. I mean, I know this. Israelis go crazy when like a band from America or Europe that is famous comes to play in Tel Aviv. Like they go nuts. I mean, the thing's packed out because most people don't go over there because the moment that they step foot on the land, what happens is they end up getting endless criticism for simply playing a concert, whether they have an opinion about what's going on with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, even though, as we saw earlier, 87% of Palestinians want no Israel at all. It doesn't matter. Like, no matter what happens, they will be criticized. And here's LeBron James on American soil just saying, love to go over and visit those people. Heard great things. Most people hear great things about Israel. It's a beautiful place. Tel Aviv's beautiful. Jerusalem's beautiful. Lots of history. Nice people. I'd love to go visit them. You're a disgrace.
Yeah. Terrible. Well, let's just give him his due. Avija is 25 years old. He's 6'8", a Jewish Israeli. 6'8". It's the first ever Israeli to be named an NBA All-Star, and it comes on top of what the NBA All-Star website is calling his breakout season, averaging 25.5 points per game for the Portland Trailblazers. This is his sixth season in the NBA. He played for the Wizards before moving to the Trailblazers. I never heard of him. Portland plays in obscurity on the West Coast, but man, that was pretty cool. An Israeli, he was proud to put his Team World uniform with an Israeli flag and his number 8.
I love that.
That was really great, Chris.
Steve, this is one that you sent to me that is very important to talk about because I'll just say I got some blood work done yesterday, and it's funny because the lady looked at me before I got my blood work done. She goes, "Can I ask you a few questions for the computer?" I said, "No problem." She goes, what ethnicity are you?" And I'm going, "Well, what are my options?" You know, here are your options. You ready? White, Black, or Native American? And I go, white. So, okay. And then the next one is like, what nationality? Well, like, I forget what it was like the next little bracket down. It goes, you're white. Okay, so are you white? And it asks again, are you white? Are you non-Hispanic white? Are you? And I said, I'm white. I'm white again. So she clicks white. And then, of course, they're asking me about my gender and all this other stuff, okay? All just to get blood work, all right? And so I said, isn't it funny, like, there's so many different ethnicities, and I could go through the list of things that I am, but I just white. And the lady just laughed. I said, I'm white twice. I was white and then white again. But it becomes an issue because this is showing up, this kind of washing out of this actually hits back at Jewish people. Because a Jerusalem Post article said that academics penned letter condemning the American Sociological Association's anti-Semitism. And what this is all about is that there's basically the Academic Psychological Association said that all these groups of people that are associated in it, like Arabs for the Academic Psychological Association and other ones as well, like these particular groups of ethnicities, basically all got together and said, there's no Jew. There's no Jewish people. They're white. That's it. They should be labeled as white only. And so it actually...
That's craziness.
It's crazy.
It's craziness.
And so these academics got together, and it says thousands of academics penned a letter condemning the serious and systematic anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish hate with the American Psychological Association, the APA, this February. The signers of the APA accused APA officials of failing to take meaningful action or respond in any significant way to the repeated attempts to highlight the issue. The collective signatories claimed that documented extensive evidence of the anti-Semitic discourse and behavior within the APA, which includes statements from APA council members, division leaders, and members. Let's see here. Did I lose my spot? And members. Oh, here we go. And members. The statement allegedly demonstrates the association's insensitivity toward the Jewish people, a lack of concern regarding anti-Semitism, minimization of aggression toward the Jewish people, and outright hostility and prejudice toward Jews and the Jewish heritage. Written communications shared by the APA members and officials allegedly included statements like kudos top Hamas, intifada, intifada, and calls to boycott Israel. The signatories also claim that the Jewish APA has been harassed, marginalized, and silenced on APA community forums, even for attempting to challenge anti-Semitic rhetoric or correct misinformation. The APA has also allegedly provided a platform to speakers who have openly made anti-Semitic comments in the past, comments which are said to range from Holocaust distortion to the justification of violence against Jews and Israelis. One speaker named by the signatories is Dr. Laura Sheehy, who reportedly describes Zionists as genocidal F-words and called the ideology psychosis. Finally, the signatories accuse the APA of enacting a double standard, offering swift response to the issues while remaining in relative silence on anti-Semitism. In addition to thousands of individual professionals, the letter was also signed by groups Psychologists Against Anti-Semitism, American Jewish Medical Association, Network of Engaged Canadian Academics, and the Jewish Identity and Anti-Semitism Collective. Steve, they were trying to wash out everybody else.
They could take us out academically. That's the way they by saying that just call them white. We're an ethnicity. I mean, that's
you have a marker. You pull blood out. You look. You spit. All you got to do is spit, and they can go, "Oh, that guy's Jewish."
That's exactly right.
But these individuals are trying to.
And by the way, go to Israel. They're not all white.
That's right.
I mean, when I stand next to my wife Alice, I'm dark.
Yeah.
She's white. I'm darker. But forget me. Go to Israel. You got it. You've got Asian Jews. You've got black Jews. You've got Indian Jews. To say that Jews are just white is simply not true.
100%. Steve, I was trying to find. I don't know if I printed that particular one. Yeah, that's the academics one. I was trying to find the one where the original conversation. I'll have to find it, but it actually labels the groups, because the thing about the American Psychiatric Association, the APA, is that they're actually divided into groups, and some specific groups of them were saying there's no Jewish people. They should just be understood as white. But as you said, there are black Jewish people.
Lots of them.
And so that is that's the craziness of all of this, is that it seems very targeted and anti-Semitic. So to whitewash the situation.
Are we surprised?
Not one bit.
Not one bit. All right. Well, there's another one, Chris, that I found. We've been talking, you and I have been talking, but really just mimicking what other more sophisticated groups have been saying during the war. And it was poo-pooed by everyone, that Hamas was involved in the hospitals. They were camping there. They had guns there. They had ammunition there. And of course, Israel, when they sent their leaflets and texts and saying we're coming to blow this up, get people out, they were criticized and people were against them. No, that's a hospital. You shouldn't do that. Well, Chris, coming out of the Times of Israel, the headline reads, Doctors Without Borders. That's a group, Chris, wonderful group of medical doctors who go to places in need to help people. It's a nonprofit group. Mm-hmm. And so they were in Gaza. Doctors Without Borders were in Gaza. But they suspended their activities at the Gaza hospital due to the presence of gunmen.
That's right. Did you see the recent... the doctor who kind of made the Hamas doctor was making international news because he was like a spokesperson as a doctor, a Gazan doctor. And here, come to find out, he was, of course, a part of Hamas. Like, his picture showed up in. So even though they might be labeled as doctors, they're still showing up in other places as well. So
Doctors Without Borders said in a statement that it has suspended non-critical medical activities at Nasser Hospital in Gaza, Khan Yunis, due to the presence of armed men at the medical facility and a recent situation of suspicion of movement of weapons. The aid group said, our men have additionally been arresting patients.
Yeah.
So I think to me, this should be a headline in all the news places because it's exactly what Israel had been saying. But it takes the Times of Israel to tell us about it and Doctors Without Borders to say, you know what, we're out of here.
Well, I want to do two more things really quick. Number one, Steve, in light of what you're saying, the Reuters recently has a piece out today, actually, Thursday, February 19th. Hamas tightens grip in Gaza as Trump pushes peace plan. And when it's showing that Hamas is cementing its hold over Gaza by placing loyalists in key government roles, collecting taxes and paying salaries, according to Israeli military assessments seen by Reuters and sources in the Palestinian conclave. Hamas's continuing influence over key Gaza power structures has fueled widespread skepticism about prospects of U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan, which requires the militant group to give up its weapons in exchange for Israeli military withdrawal from this territory. So what we're seeing is kind of in this waiting period where I think they're trying to get from phase 1 to phase 2 of this peace plan, is that Hamas, instead of doing what it's required to do, which is relinquish its power, surprise, surprise, they're tightening their grip and they're punishing their own citizens and they're trying to reestablish a foothold in Gaza. And then, in addition, just so that we can kind of leave our audience with this, because I know this is probably on a lot of their minds right now, the U.S. is sending significant numbers of jet fighters and support aircraft to the Middle East. This is from the Wall Street Journal, which says that the U.S. is assembling the greatest amount of air power in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Yet it is still couldn't be determined whether President Trump would order strikes against Iran. And if he did, whether the aim would be to halt Iran's already battered nuclear program, wipe out its missile force, or try to topple the regime. Over the past few days, the U.S. has continued to move cutting-edge F-35 and F-22 jet fighters toward the Middle East, according to the flight tracking data and U.S. officials. The second aircraft carrier, loaded with an attack and electronic warfare planes, is on the way. Command and control aircraft, which are vital for orchestrating large air campaigns, are inbound. The critical air defenses have been deployed to the region in recent weeks. The firepower will give the U.S. the option of carrying out a sustained, weeks-long air raid against Iran instead of a one-and-done midnight hammer strike the U.S. carried out in June against 3 Iranian nuclear sites.
Well, that's as update as we can give. And President Trump today was just patting himself on the back, Chris, of what a great job Hamas is doing. They're cooperating. Well, I guess not.
There's peace in the Middle East, and 87% of Muslims say no thank you to Israel. All right?
All right.
Steve, maybe there's a point where there could be some negotiation.
Well, the king of negotiation, art of the deal, is Donald Trump.
That's right. Well, maybe he learned it.
Chutzpah?
Well, maybe he learned it from Abraham.
Maybe he did. But for our Yiddish word for the day, Chris, we've been talking about Abraham and his negotiation with God. So it's Handl.
Handl.
Handl is, according to the Jewish English lexicon, talks about trading or haggling.
Haggling.
Was Abraham haggling?
He was handling.
He was holy chutzpah.
That's right. I love it. Handl is the Yiddish word of the day, to negotiate. Hey, guess what, everybody? Thanks for being a part of the Friends of Israel's Jew and Gentile podcast. There he is, Steve, the Jewish sage, holding up Finding Messiah and Passover. You can buy a copy by going to foi.org, or you can get a free digital download.
Oh, don't tell him that, Chris.
Sorry about that.
No, tell him.
Okay, free by going to
free.
That's right, messiahandpassover.org. Also, don't forget to sign up for our classes that are free by going to foiequip.org. And also, stickers. Get your free stickers by going to texting us at 424-444-1948. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. Don't forget to talk to God the way Abraham talked to God. Stay close to him. Stay in that relationship. And guess what? We'll see you next week.